We're joined by a very special guest, T. Scott Jones. Banks and Jones joins us now. Look at this guy. He's got a big anniversary at Farragut High School tonight. I think it's his 10th anniversary based off how he looks.
Oh, you're very kind. I tell you, 40th anniversary. Kind of hard to believe that those years have flown by, but time it waits for no one, so to speak.
That's true. I saw this Les Miles lawsuit, and I'm like, I got to call T. Scott Jones right now. I got to get in touch with him because let's explain, Caleb, a little bit about this lawsuit, and then I want to get the legal expertise from Mr. Jones here.
All right, so T. Scott Jones, Les Miles is suing LSU, the NCAA, and the College Football Hall of Fame over the fact that LSU vacated 37 wins due to an NCAA infractions case. And the vacated wins drops him his win percentage below the threshold for the College Football Hall of Fame qualifications. The lawsuit states he was deprived of property rights to the vacated wins and his nomination, which must be done by those affiliated with an NCAA member school.
I sit there and I think about that, Caleb, and I think about what was his quintessential nickname, the Mad Hatter. I guess that was MADD, but now he's really mad, MAD, over it, thus precipitating the lawsuit. But, when you look at things that are, at least on the outward glance, somewhat frivolous, I don't know that you have a vested property right in a quote unquote honorary organization that you're elected in. So I don't know. I sort of fail to see anything that LSU or that anyone else did that basically impinges upon or impugns a property right that Les Miles had. I don't know. We may be proven wrong, but that one's going kind of far afield. I mean, I consider myself a pretty broad-minded plaintiff's lawyer, but I believe I'd have let that one sail on by. I mean, it certainly got some media attention, and if that's what he was seeking, it may be kind of like the cast members of the Brady Bunch, where everybody sort of forgot about them. But that being said, I don't know.
Well, I'm curious too. So I understand how he could sue LSU. You can sue anybody for anything, that
Sure.
better than that. But I mean, I kind of understand that one at least, but I don't understand including the College Football Hall of Fame in it, because correct me if I'm wrong, but you and I could start a club right now. It could be the Scott Jones Hooker Club, and we can decide who we want as members as long as we don't receive federal funds, right? I mean, isn't that what the College Hall of Fame is?
Yeah, I mean, that's always been my understanding relative to it, Dave. And that's what was sort of troubling with regards to that. I mean, you might get into the actual constrictures of his contract with LSU. I mean, neither of us have actually examined that. And I can't imagine that there was a limitation put in the contract that university will not vitiate or vacate any wins without Les Miles' permission or some other authority. But just to, do it without that or out some sort of a contractual obligation, I think he's going to have a hard time, so to speak, making that elevator go up.
Well, I'm going to make you guys laugh even harder because his attorney is saying that LSU agreed to this with the NCAA without giving Les Miles due process. I'm sorry, do you have due process in something like trying to get entry into something like an honorary organization?
I mean, I know that sounds kind of odd, with regards to it. I mean, due process rights are basically the rights that we're all afforded to as citizens of the United States, but it's not governmental action, sort of tying into the comment that Dave had. I mean, if this was, I don't know, admittance into some state-funded organization or something of that nature, perhaps there's something there. But I do not think it is going to go well for him. And as far as notice, I think you're in a situation where the university gets put into a position of protecting the overall university good and the other athletes and the programs in and of themselves. I mean, we've all seen wins vitiated before, but under this set of circumstances, I don't know that Les has got any vested right. I mean, it sort of just begs the question of really, was this a valid lawsuit to begin with? But like I said, I mean, time is going to be the teller of all relative to this.
Let's say, for instance, you're one of Les Miles's friends, and he comes to you and he goes, "You're the best attorney in town. I want you to do this for me because I want to drum up some criticism I have about the College Football Hall of Fame." Would you even take this case? I mean, what would be your response initially?
I mean, honestly, and I know I'm going to sort of coin my own phrase, when I take a case, I play to win. You can't take things, the Titanic's already hit the iceberg there and it's going down. It's not a question of when it's going to go under the surface. It's just a question, of the exact timing. In this set of circumstances, I wouldn't do it. I mean, all the media attention in the world is great, and you generate some with regards to filing a lawsuit like that. But then when you lose credibility in a situation like that, either as a individual participant or as a litigator, you've always got to be conscious of that. I mean, we have what are called Rule 11 sanctions, which are basically effectuated by the rules of civil procedure, which means we have to have a good faith basis for bringing a lawsuit. I mean, albeit, yes, you can sue anybody for pretty much anything. If you don't have that good faith basis, you can end up paying the other side's cost, attorney's fees, and actually incur damages. So I would be very cautious. Now, if he produced me a contract that said that he had the authority to, consent or withhold consent to action such as what LSU took, I might take another look at it. But without that, I think I'd let that one sail on down the stream.
I don't like average Joe's losing money, but I'd be okay with a guy that's made millions losing money because he fired off a frivolous lawsuit. If you can, Scott, tell us how you guys are different, because I know that you play to win. I know that you are Tennessee's trial attorney, but remind us how that's different from some other litigators out there.
Well, not disparaging anyone else, but I mean, we're day in, day out. I'm actually down here at court, jumping on the show with you guys. Wasn't sure I was going to be able to get a recess to come out here and do this. But, we average 41 court appearances a month. That's what we do. Or excuse me, a week. I apologize. A month. That wouldn't be a whole lot. But that being said, we're in the courtrooms. And, when you're not there and you're not litigating, you're losing those skills. And you can talk about everything else, but, eventually you got to get out there on the gridiron, buckle the chin strap, and butt heads. If you're not doing that, all the practice, basically what we call quote unquote soft practice, that's well and good. But until you're actually down there on the gridiron where inches matter, sometimes it's kind of hard to find the end zone.
Great stuff. We appreciate it as always. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, guys. Take care. See ya.
The guy's so awesome. He's taking a recess from court. How cool is that, Caleb? Like,
I think that's pretty epic.
I gotta do this off the hook sports thing, Judge. Can you hold on for this? Let's pretend it's a capital murder case. I don't know that it is, but let's just pretend that.
Okay. All right.
I don't think
wait. I have a real question about this though, because I know you had to go back, and it's a shame we couldn't keep it because I did want to ask this, but Dave, I just want to know your thoughts on this. Don't you think it even further hurts Les Miles' case? The fact that I would say, and you would say, and I think John Adams would have said, that even if he was eligible for the Hall of Fame and those wins came back, I still wouldn't vote him in the Hall of Fame.
Is he? No, he doesn't. I believe. Do you want to hear the most nebulous way of defining who should be in the Hall of Fame? If I look at the guy and I say, that's a Hall of Famer. If I say it just really quick, if I have to think about it for longer than about 30 seconds, I usually end up on the not.
Dave, let me applaud you for this.
Okay.
Because this has always been my rule too. And I don't get when people are like, it's questionable. If it's questionable, he's not in. That's my rule of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. It's like saying you're sort of pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not.
Yeah. I mean.
So I mean, Les Miles does not strike me as a national championship coach. I'm sorry, as a Hall of Fame coach, even though he has a national championship. Not even close.
Right. Now, I do think there are I'm okay with like some automatic standards to get in. Like, for instance, say hypothetically Oklahoma State did not choke against Iowa State in 2011 and LSU got lucky and played Oklahoma State for the national title instead of Alabama in a rematch and LSU wins. Okay, 2 national titles. you put somebody in if they have 2 national titles, right? Automatically, you put them in at that point. Didn't happen. Sorry. Part of the reason it didn't happen was Les Miles was stupid enough to, as a coach's poll voter, vote Alabama #2 over Oklahoma State because he wanted the rematch. Why would you want the rematch with the team that you barely beat the last time? I mean, that's just... You think Nick Saban would have done that? You think Nick Saban would have voted LSU #2 over Oklahoma State if he had that chance?
I think Nick Saban's a little bit smarter than Les Miles. That's just me.